be real. The Marvel Universe movies have been some of the most captivating movies released in modern years. They've pulled on our heartstrings more times than most people care to admit, and the stories they've left us with are bar none. But did you know that some of the scenes from your favorite Marvel movies actually made the actors cry? Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos. Tony Stark's final moments. One of the most heartbreaking moments in Marvel history is when Tony Stark finally realized it's time to say goodbye in Avengers Endgame. This scene cut deep for everyone watching, as they knew this would be the last time they would see Tony Stark, at least in his current iteration. Joe Russo spoke about Robert Downey Jr.'s amazing performance and said, "What's so incredible about Robert Downey and his performance, and we think this is an awards caliber performance, is when he looks at Benedict at that moment, what you see happen on his face and the way he just drops his eyes and receives the information. It's because he knows he is the solution, and the solution involves snapping his fingers. He's going to die. The thing he wanted to present 2 hours earlier in the movie is his relationship with his daughter, and he will have to sacrifice that in order to save everyone else." Peter Parker, I don't want to go.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
Another pivotal scene in the Marvel Universe is when Peter Parker uttered the words, "I don't feel so good," leading into one of the strangest and most difficult Marvel scenes to date. As Peter released the words, "I don't want to go," repeating them over and over. This really explained what his character was going through at the time. Tom Holland said that he improvised a large portion of the scene, saying that he needed to repeat "I don't want to go" to fully immerse himself in the character and allow himself to cry. In the end, this scene literally brought Tom to his knees as he embraced the pain and extreme emotion Peter was feeling at the time. This scene is likely what caused so many fans to feel as though Avengers Infinity War was the greatest film from the lineup of Avengers movies. Chris Evans cries at Endgame premiere.
Being on set with these people, it's been almost...
Chris Evans has cemented his place as one of the most iconic Marvel actors of all time. The 39-year-old has seen a lot of success in his career, but he is most well known for playing in superhero films like Fantastic Four and, obviously, Avengers. He took on the role of Captain America for the last few years and certainly gave fans a performance to remember. He became so well known that he is considered one of the world's highest paid actors, and will most likely remain a critical influence for all Captain America iterations that are to come in the next few years. Chris was so moved by his time working with the Marvel franchise that he openly admitted he began sobbing at the premiere of Avengers Endgame. He says he cried at least 6 times while watching the movie, proving just how much the series meant to him. Tom Holland, Spider-Man Far From Home.
I just really miss him.
This scene truly broke down many Marvel fans. This scene was carried out by the legendary Tom Holland while playing Peter Parker in Spider-Man Far From Home. We all know Peter Parker and Tony Stark had a seriously strong connection, so it must have taken a lot out of him when Parker had to say goodbye to Tony one last time. These two had a father-son bond that is unmatched in the Marvel Universe, so to say that Tony's death took a major toll on Peter would be a gross understatement. This scene sees Peter explaining how much he misses Tony Stark, saying, "Everywhere I go, I see his face. I really miss him." Having to let go of a loved one is one of the most difficult emotions we can face in life, and I can only imagine how much Peter must have loved Tony. Cap drops his shield.
You don't deserve it. My father made that shield.
Continuing with the role Tony Stark played in the Avengers universe, a very difficult scene to perform and watch was when Captain America dropped his shield. We know Tony was one of the most kind-hearted and well-rounded characters from the series, but he also struggled with PTSD and had violent outbursts from time to time, by no fault of his own. One particularly difficult scene involved Tony lashing out at Captain America, shouting for him to put down his shield, because he didn't deserve it. This scene came from Captain America: Civil War and really showed how much of an impact Tony had on the other Avengers. Bury me in the ocean, Black Panther.
Just bury me in the ocean. With my
I have to admit, this scene was pretty unexpected. We know the world has faced a lot of racial tension over the years, but to see it addressed in such a serious way in a Marvel film really hits home how racism can tear a world apart. Black Panther may not have been as popular as some of the other Marvel movies, but it led to one of the most powerful scenes in the series that likely caught a lot of the actors off guard. The scene sees T'Challa offering to help Eric, but Eric refuses. He says, "Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from ships," because they knew death was better than bondage. You're so big. Avengers Endgame.
You're so big.
Who could forget Paul Rudd and his famous performance of Scott Lang? In Avengers Endgame, Paul Rudd was tasked with performing one of the most difficult scenes he had ever done. Paul is obviously known for being a comedian more than anything, and this scene truly puts his acting talents to the test. Scott Lang and his daughter, Cassie, had been separated for the entirety of Cassie's childhood. However, near the end of Avengers Endgame, the two reunite, with Scott silently realizing just how much of his daughter's life he had missed. Talk about a serious punch in the gut. Chris Hemsworth cried at Endgame premiere also.
Because this is the last time this gathering or this group of people is going to be.
So we know Chris Evans had a hard time holding it together at the premiere of Avengers Endgame. But what about Chris Hemsworth? Chris Hemsworth has taken on the role of Thor since 2011 and has been with the series for nearly a decade. He is also one of the highest paid actors in the world with Avengers Endgame, putting his emotions to the test. Yes, Chris Evans may have cried about 6 times throughout the film, but Chris Hemsworth says he cried much more than that, putting Chris Evans on the spot during an interview. It's safe to say these two were very passionate about the characters they portrayed. We are Groot. You know we'd end up here. Who doesn't love Groot? He is one of the most beloved characters from the Marvel Universe, but he didn't really rise to fame until Guardians of the Galaxy. He became most well known for his famous line, "I am Groot." However, he brought audiences to their knees when he finally switched up his tone in his final moments on Earth. When Groot knew he was faced with certain death, he changed his catchphrase for the first time, and only time, when he realized his death would mean saving the rest of his team, issuing the heartfelt line, "We are Groot." Stan Lee tribute. This final scene takes us out of the Marvel Universe and back into reality. Not only did this scene make most of the actors cry, but there was not a dry eye in the house after this tribute to Stan Lee played. The opening credits of Captain Marvel contained a tribute to Stan Lee, filled with images of him from his younger years and all throughout his life. A tagline popped up immediately after the introduction, simply reading, "Thank you, Stan." Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like button and ring the notification bell for more videos.